will be thinking small ball at this point. Especially with Tori DeCenso, a player who can easily, with one swing of the bat, make this a 2-run game. Senso thus far, a hard fly out to center, and she hits another ball out to center. This one not nearly hit as far. An easy play for Quine in center field for a quick first out. Senso now 1 for 3. She also singled out to left back in the fourth. Bring up Gigi Braga, who has twice as many hits here in Boston as she had in Florida. Braga struggled throughout the Florida trip, 1 for 19, a perfect 2 of 2 here in Boston.
Number 3, Gigi Braga.
And the good thing about watching Braga for the past 2 years is a player that can really mentally shrug off some mistakes and get right back into the game. A member of the Beacons women's soccer team and softball team. Also a regular worker in the sports information department at UMass Boston. 0-1 pitch to Braga. Takes it on the outside corner. 0-2. Bonilla at first base with good speed. Infield in, especially on the right side, although Tango, who re-entered at third base, is in a few steps in front of the bag as well. 0-2 pitch hit over to Tango. She picks it up, a sharp throw, and Braga is retired. Braga is fast, but Tango was so far in and made a good play, getting that one out of the glove quickly. A little bit low on the throw, but in time to get Braga, who's 2 for 3 now. Moves Giovanna Bonilla up to second base with 2 outs for Ari Bellata. Bellata has had a busy day. Already her 4th trip to the plate in 6 innings out of the leadoff spot. Doubled and scored in the first. Put down a sac bunt in the third, and with the bases loaded and 2 down in the fourth, hit an absolute rocket. But Ashley Tango was able to snag the line drive over at third base for the last out of the inning. Beacon's trying to avoid leaving a runner in scoring position for the 4th straight inning. 0-1 just misses outside as Roach framed that pitch for a while. Kelly Danahy awaits on deck as the Beacons look to pick up at least the 2nd run in this half inning, trying to potentially stage a late comeback against the number 19th ranked team in the nation. 1-1, that one is high. Bellata holds off, 2-1. Bellata has 4 doubles on the season. A double should easily cut the deficit to 5-2 right now. Opened the game with the double out to the warning track in left center that Annie Quine just couldn't get to. Bellata hacks it, that one, fouls it off the top of a storage unit to our right. And it's 2-2. Remember, game number 2 will start about 20 to 25 minutes after the conclusion of this first game. You'll have to exit out of the stream, go back either to your school's website or to the UMass Boston Stretch Internet portal and just pick the game that was scheduled to start at 5. Bellata swings and misses. Strikeout number 9 of the game. Bellata chasing a pitch outside, and that'll do it for the Beacons in the top of the 6th. Allie Riley just 3 outs away from tying the program record with her 50th career win. Bottom of the sixth inning, it'll be 7-8-9 to face Megan Hoban for the first time. Hoban came on in relief with no outs and a runner on first in the fifth inning, was able to get a pair of strikeouts, but also allowed an RBI single. The run was charged to Drew Washington, the Beacon starters, who went 4+ innings, allowed 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, and walked 3. Breaking ball on the outside half is strike one at Jamie Hoffman, who was not retired by Drew Washington. Hoffman a single through the right side and a run scored in the third, a single through the left side, and was stranded back in the fourth. Third trip to the plate for the freshman designated player, who's even in the count now 1-1. Babson looking for their 8th win of the season. UMass Boston trying to avoid falling to 2-9 in what would be their 7th straight loss. Hoffman thought about swinging, held off, and it's a strike nonetheless. Right at the knees on the outside half, 1-2. This will start a busy stretch for both of these teams who have yet to play a game in New England prior to today. 1-2, just off the corner. Vento wanted it, but she's not going to get the call. UMass Boston will play 2 today, 2 tomorrow, 2 on Saturday, followed by 6 more games next week, all at home. Babson will have tomorrow off as Hoffman hits it over the head of Braga, and Pressmack was kind of in between on that ball, lets it fall in front. So Hoffman is now 3 for 3 with 3 singles. Good choice by Dave Kanan to be put into the DP spot. And Allie Riley will look to make herself 3 for 3 as well. She had an RBI double to tie the game in the third, came in to score for the go-ahead run, and then singled down the left field line in the fourth and was stranded. Going back to Babson's schedule, Babson will be at home against MIT for 2. That's their conference opener on Friday at 3. Then Saturday they travel to Wellesley for 2 more NEWMAC games. So 4 conference games in a span of about 26, 28 hours. Then they host Endicott on Tuesday before traveling to Smith next Friday and then hosting WPI next Saturday. So both of these teams will, after having a little bit of a long layoff, Babson about a week, UMass Boston 2 weeks, will both get in as many games as they played down in Florida. Hoban, her 3rd strikeout already. She's not much of a strikeout pitcher, but she strikes out Riley, who's retired for the first time today. Look at Hoban's numbers coming in. 10 2/3 innings, she had struck out 9. Well, she's got 3 here in her first 4 outs. Victoria Casey, well out in front of the breaking ball, and it's 0-1. Casey has lined out to first and hit into a 4-3 double play as Danahy was able to tag the runner coming from first and then throw out Casey on a slowly hit ground ball. Hit out to left center, coming in is Paulina. Diving effort from Pressmack. It's going to be a 3rd double play. It just gets by Gata. And now the runner will take off for a second and the throw down, and it's a double play nonetheless. It's the old 7-3-6 double play, and UMass Boston has turned 3 of them after a phenomenal diving effort from Kira Pressmack out in center field. Top of the 7th, and it's the Beacons' last chance. I know it sounds weird, but UMass Boston scheduled to be the road team with Babson's Field unplayable. They're hosting, but they are the road team in the scorebook. So the Beacons will have to score at least 4 here if they're going to send this game to the bottom of the 7th. Beacons will send 2, 3, 4 to the plate at least to start. Danahy, Vento, and Gaeta to work against Allie Riley, who's looking for her 6th win of the season and 50th career win.
Leading off for the Beacons in the top of the 7th inning, second baseman number 8, Kelly Danahy.
Riley already holds the program record for innings pitched and appearances. This is her 90th appearance. She is closing in on 500 career innings pitched as a senior out of New Canaan, Connecticut. Career ERA of 2.74 and came in with 328 strikeouts. She's added to that total with 9 thus far, including at least 1 in every inning. 1-0 to Kelly Danahy, the Beacons freshman second baseman. Make it 1-1. Pitch that was just above the ankles on the outside half, 1-1. Danahy struck out swinging the first. It's called for stepping out of the batter's box in the third, and then grounded out to second in the 5th. Came in as the Beacons' leading hitter, 360, hits a long fly ball out to right. Coming over and making the play is Annie Klein. That ball hung up for a while, and Klein, the center fielder, able to race over into right center field. Josephine Mayers was there as well. So Danahy likely ending this one 0 for 4. Roxanne Vento trying to reach base for a 4th time. She had an RBI double to right back in the first, walked and was left at second in the third, and singled and was left at second in the 5th. So she's actually been stranded at second base in all 3 of her trips. She'd love to actually cross the plate this time around. Behind the count 0-1. 0-1 effort is a little bit high, bounces out of the glove of Roach. 1-1 now. Riley looks in, toes the rubber. 1-1 is low. 2-1. Beacons trailing 5-1 in their New England opener here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Trying to get a late rally going. 2-1 effort. Vento swings and misses. 2-2. Roxanne has not been retired against the Beavers in her last 2 games. Looking to keep that stretch going. Went 2 for 2 a season ago with a double. 2-2. Bounces up there and past Roach. The count runs full. Vento leads the team with her 7 doubles. And when I say 7 doubles, I mean 7 walks. She also has 4 doubles, which is tied for first. Sure, she'll get to 7 doubles sooner rather than later, but probably not in this game. That one is just off the corner. That should be ball 4. Vento wasn't aware. Arnie Walken wasn't telling her, but after a brief pause, she does work the walk, her 8th on the year. Just the 3rd walk that Riley has issued today against 9 strikeouts. And Beacons have a base runner. They've done so in 6 of the 7 innings thus far. The only inning the Beacons did not have a base runner was the 2nd. UMass Boston has left a base runner in 5 of the first 6 innings as well. Left 9 base runners through the first 6 innings. UMass Boston, on their last day in Florida, the 15th of March, left 18 base runners in 18 combined base runners in a 3-0 loss to Endicott and 4-1 loss to the University of Scranton. So they've been getting some base runners, just haven't been able to drive them in. Cassidy Gaeta behind the count 0-1. Beacon's cleanup hitter is 1 for 3. She swings through the rise ball there, 0-2. Gaeta struck out swinging each of her first 2 at-bats. Hit a single out to right field back in the 5th. Pretty nice day here for late March on the Beacon's Harbor campus. Sun's out. The wind is pretty slow right now. Haven't seen the dust storm that we're used to seeing on this field. And the temperatures were in the 50s. It's gotten a little bit cold in our press tent, but still warmer than most. Gata, a hard line drive foul that ends up on top of, might have ended up staying in the storage unit to our right. Count right now is 1-2 to the freshman first baseman. 1-2 effort, and she hits it high out to right. She'll be playable for Mayers. Going back is Smith, and she'll make the play in shallow right for the second out of the inning. So the Beacons down to their final out here in the top of the 7th inning. It's up to Taylor Paulina to extend it. Paulina today, pair of strikeouts and called for making contact with the ball out of the batter's box. She is 0 for 3. Came in as one of 3 Beacons hitters, actually 4 Beacons hitters hitting over 300. We're going to get a pinch runner for UMass Boston. Gianna Salemi will pinch run for Vento here. Salemi, one of the Beacons' 5 freshmen. Freshman infielder out of Windsor, Connecticut, making her 4th career appearance and 2nd career pinch running appearance. Also pinch ran against Scranton.
At the plate, center field number 15.
She attended Northwest Catholic High School in Connecticut, where she was a softball and field hockey player. She's on for first base for Vento as Paulina fouls the first pitch off. It feels as if Allie Riley has been ahead in 95% of the counts today. Just been pounding the strike zone with first pitch strikes. And her second pitch strike percentage is probably almost as high. Seemingly every other Beacons hitter has been behind the count 0-2. She's looking for 10 strikeout out of the game. Rise ball high, 1-1. This will probably be it for Riley today, so she'll probably have to wait to try to set the program record for wins till Friday when they play a very good MIT team. It's been on a bit of a roll recently. Fastball outside, 2-1. MIT had a freshman who threw a no-hitter the other day. From reading a couple of Twitter headlines, it seems as if the Engineers have swept couple of doubleheaders over the past 2 weeks, as that one is low, 3-1. Rare chance for the Beacons to potentially get a pitch to hit. The Beacons trail 5-1 against the Beavers here in game 1 of our doubleheader. Right now it's 4:57 on the East Coast, so we certainly won't be starting game 2 at 5. Likely a 5:25-25 start if it ended right here. But Paulina works the walk. That's the second walk of the inning. And 4th total walk of the game for Riley. And there are 2 on for Kira Pressmack. Pressmack, 1 for 3. She's called for batter's interference in the second. Singled and was stranded at third in the 4th. And then struck out swinging in the 5th.
Left field number 12, Kira Pressmack.
Riley has actually ended 4 of the previous 6 innings with a strikeout to end the inning as she gets Pressmack to swing through strike 1. It's really having an effective New England debut for a player who was just dominant to end last season. Pressmack pulls back the bunt, and it's 1-1. Beacon's not really a huge threat to steal a bag right now. Riley in last year's NCAA tournament, 6 appearances, 5 starts. She went 5-0 with a 0.75 ERA and 37 innings, allowed just 4 earned runs. Pressmack puts down the bunt. It goes foul, and it's 1-2. Riley struck out 17 and walked just 9 in that span. Babson went 5-3 overall in the NCAA tournament. Riley did not pitch in 2 of those 3 losses. That's how good she was as she split time with Brooke Stock, who we'll likely see in Game 2, who just happened to be the UMass Tournament Most Outstanding Player. Rise ball high, 2-2. A two-headed monster at the top of the Babson pitching staff, and I mean that in the best way. 2-2, 2 on, 2 outs in the top of the 7th. 2-2 to Pressmack is low. Riley, one pitch away from potentially walking the bases loaded. Beacons trailing by 4, just need some base runners. Three-two offering. Pressmack fouls it off, and we'll do it again. That one bounces high off the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink facade to our left. Folks, make sure to stick with us for game number 2, which will start about 20 to 25 minutes after the conclusion of this one. 3-2 offering. Pressmack hits it over to third. Tango picks it up, throws it across just in time to get Pressmack. UMass Boston swings it a little bit better with the plates, with the bats, but not quite enough as the Beavers rally from an early 1-0 deficit to score 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and the number 19th ranked team in the country earns a 5-1 victory in their home opener. So right now we'll take a quick look through our post-game show. We're not going to hold you for long, as Babson earns the 5-1 win. The final line on Allie Riley, who was very, very good in tying the program record with her 50th career win in only her 90th career game. She gave up 9 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, walked 4, and struck out 9. Drew Washington takes the loss after going 4+ innings, allowing 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks against a very talented Babson team. Megan Holben, a nice job in relief. Holben allowing just the 2 hits, no runs, struck out 3, and did not walk a batter as UMass Boston falls a little bit short. The Beavers' offensive hero might just be Allie Riley herself. She hit the game-winning RBI double and scored the game-winning run as Riley had an all-around great game number 1. Taking a look ahead for UMass Boston, we've still got 1 game left today, but just to remind you, Beacons will be back in action tomorrow at 3 and 5 in their official home opener against Castleton. Then they open conference play on Saturday at Western Connecticut State, and they'll be back in action for 6 home games next week, including games against Salve, Regina, and Framingham State. Before we wrap up here on the Beacons Broadcast Network, let's give a shout-out to our production crew. My name is Seth Dorensky, your producer. Alyssa Fugel was our director. Anthony Searles helping out on stats. My name is Seth Dorensky, doing both the play-by-play and producing. Cassie Murphy doing a great job on camera. That'll do it for game number 1. Remember, you have to exit out of the broadcast, head into the game 2 broadcast. It's scheduled to start at 5. It's going to start a lot closer to 5:20. Thanks so much for watching, folks, and hopefully you'll tune in for game number 2. Welcome back to the UMB softball field. The teams are ready, the coaches are ready, the umpires not so much. So while we've got a moment before the start of Game 2, let's take you through a quick recap of Game number 1. For UMass Boston, the defense was there. The Beacons turned 3 double plays, including a phenomenal one from Kira Pressmack to end the 6th inning, but they just couldn't do enough against Allie Riley. The senior from New Canaan, Connecticut, just had a phenomenal game. 7 innings, 9 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts versus 4 walks. She also had a pair of hits, the game-tying RBI, and the game-winning run. Scored a really strong performance in the 5-1 victory. The Beacons' offense, a little bit better. I mean, we said it, the 9 hits. That's about 5 more than they had been averaging during their 6-game, now 7-game losing streak, but just the 1 run. UMass Boston took a 1-0 lead in the top of the 1st inning with a pair of doubles from Ari Bellotta and Roxanne Vento, but the Beavers struck for 3 in the 3rd. The big one, a 2-run double from Samantha Smith. They added a single run in the 4th on a Tori Roach home run, and then in the 5th they added an RBI pinch hit, 2-out single from Erica Pavlo. So that was the scoring in game number 1. Right now we're just waiting on the umpires to give the lineups to and to really get going. We'll bring you through the starting lineups for Game 2 right now while we've got a moment. It's going to look a little bit different for both sides. For the Beacons, their leadoff hitter and starting third baseman, she's not available because Ari Bellotta had class. So a slightly different look. Remember, they're student athletes. Beacons typically play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So with a Wednesday game, even though they're on their home campus, Bellotta still couldn't be here for the whole time because she had to go to class. So Beacons with a different look. Kira Pressmack, who in game number 1 for UMass Boston was hitting 6th, moves up into the leadoff spot. She will be out in left. Kelly Danahy hitting 2nd and playing 2nd. Roxanne Vento moves from behind the plate to 3rd base. Cassidy Gaeta moves from first base to the DP spot. She'll still be hitting cleanup. Taylor Paulina hits 5th and plays center. Tori DeCenso will be in the field for Game 2. She's hitting 6th and playing 1st. Giovanna Bonilla is out there in right field hitting 7th. Angelina Avitable is the lone starter in Game 2 who didn't play in Game 1. The sophomore will be the catcher and hit 8th in Game 2. And Gigi Braga, who had 2 hits in Game number 1, will hit 9th and play shortstop. Jess Greenspan in the circle. For Babson, just a couple of defensive changes and 1 change in the starting, well, 2 changes actually. The pitcher and 1 other player, 1 position player. Josephine Mayers, who had 3 walks in Game 1, will be out in right field leading off. Samantha Smith stays in the 2-hole playing 2nd. Annie Quine moves from center field to catcher. In the cleanout spot, it's Jacqueline Paul playing 1st. Ashley Tango hits 5th and plays 3rd. Tori Roach moves from out behind the plate to the DP spot. Jamie Hoffman, who was the DP in Game 1, is out in left field. And Kayla Shinnick is the lone player who came off the bench in Game 1 to start. She'll be out in center with Brooke Stock, the team's other ace, sort of a 1A, 1B combination. Pitching and hitting as Annie Mitchell will be the flex for a 7th consecutive game. So that pretty much does it for the starting lineups. We're going to take a brief audio break. As soon as the 2 teams finish up huddling around home plate, we'll bring you the numbers on Brooke Stock, the Babson starting pitcher, as the Beacons will once again be the road team for game number 2. See the pitcher for Babson College. It's Brooke Stock, the sophomore out of Fort Lauderdale, and what a pitcher she is. 2-3 on the season with the save, 2.63 ERA with 31 strikeouts. Opponents hitting a minuscule 202 against. And you look at some of the numbers for Stock from a season ago. She had quite the freshman season, 31 appearances, 25 starts, 16-9 with a 2.76 ERA, 167 and a third innings pitched. Held opponents to just a 232 opponents batting average. And her strikeout numbers over her first two seasons have just been crazy, striking out over a batter per inning. She's the power pitcher of this staff, and she'll face off against the Beacons team that struck out 9 times in Game 1. Last season, in just 4 innings, Stock struck out 10 batters and allowed just 2 hits. Kira Pressmack takes the first pitch fastball. Pressmack, the sophomore left fielder out of Houston, Texas. Kira struck out once, finished 1 for 4 in game number 1 with an infield single to third. Pops that one up. Tango, a diving effort, and she makes the play. Tremendous effort from Ashley Tango, and that'll be the first out of game number 2 as she has to stretch out to catch the pop-up off the bat of Pressman. Kelly Danahy will step up for the first time now in game number 2. Danahy 0 for 4. A strikeout, a batter interference, a grounder to second, and a fly out to right center. Danahy came in hitting .360. Tops on the Beacons, 9 of 25. Looking for that 10th hit to get back up to 300 at 10 for 30. Pops it over the backstop, and she's quickly behind 0-2. We've seen nothing but strikes from Brooke Stock to start, as she's a perfect 4 of 4. Sun already starting to set over the ice rink to our left as Danahy swings and misses. Couldn't catch up to the rise ball. And there's quickly 2 down here in the top of the first against Brooke Stock. See what Roxanne Vento could do. Vento in her last 2 games against Babson, 4 for 4, 2 doubles, 2 walks, and an RBI. Simply unstoppable. She fouls that one back to the stop. Vento with her 2 for 2 performance in game number 1, 10 of 26, tops on the Beacons. And she's also walked 7 times, an on-base percentage hovering right at about 500 on the season. That one just missed. One and one to the Beacons' 3-hole hitter and third baseman. Vento pops that one up a mile high. Ashley Tango in foul territory, able to make the play. And the Beacons are retired 1-2-3 in the top of the first. Head to the bottom of the first. It's the first time we'll see Jess Greenspan here at home in the 2018 season. Take a look at Jess Greenspan for the first time here in 2018. She had the best season in program history as a pitcher a season ago. As a freshman out of Rocky Hill, Connecticut, she was named the LEC Pitcher of the Year, first player in program history to do that. Named to the LEC first team, the LEC Tournament Most Outstanding Player, and named to the Springfield All-Tournament team. As a freshman, she set single-season program records with her 21 wins, 3 saves, 197 in the third innings pitched, 35 appearances, and tied the program record with 24 complete games, finishing the year 21-8 with a 2.41 ERA. Sophomore year got off to a slow start, but she's righted the ship as of late. 1-4 in 5 starts, 7 total appearances, a 2.5 ERA in her last in 36 in the third innings. Has struggled with their control, 12 strikeouts versus 14 walks. gone at least 6 innings in all of her starts, allowing 3 earned or fewer in 4 of those starts. In her last 2 starts, over 13 innings, she's allowed no earned runs. Struck out 5 and allowed 4 walks. That's a fly out to left, and Kira Pressmack retires Josephine Mayers. It's the first time that Mayers has put the ball in play, and it's the first time she's been retired today after 3 walks in game number 1. Brings up Samantha Smith, the senior second baseman. Had a big 2-run double to make it 4-0 in game number 1. She takes that pitch on the outside corner. Greenspan peppering the strike zone to start her first start of the season here at home. Smith out of Hillsborough, New Jersey, riding a 4-game hitting streak and make it 5. Hard line drive right at the middle, skitters past Greenspan, and she's the first base runner for either team here in game number 2. She'll be out there at first base for Annie Quine. Quine, the junior out of Santa Monica, California, back in her usual spot, the catching spot. Did play in center field in game number 1. She came in as a catcher, started at catcher her entire freshman season, but was injured last year, and that allowed Tori Roach to really show what she was capable of. Tori Roach will stay in the lineup because she's been hitting extremely well. She's the DP here in game 2, with Quine moving from center field to catcher. Just a little bit low is Avatable, the Beacons backup catcher, who's in there with Vento filling in at third for Ari Bellata. Throws down to first. It's 1-1 to Quine. Annie in game 1. 1 for 3, a single. She also lined into a double play and grounded out the third. 2-1 after that pitch bounced up there. Annie on the season came in hitting over 400, slugging just under 700. Team best 676. Takes it outside. Avatable throws down to first. The throw down to second, and it's not in time. Beacons tried to go the short way. It's going to end up as a stolen base for Samantha Smith, as that's the first stolen base of the day for either side. And the count runs to 3-1. Quine has a runner in scoring position. Not good news for UMass Boston, with the Beavers coming into today's action hitting .391 with runners in scoring position. 3-1 pitch. That's going to help. It's past the diving Pressmack. Quine's going to have an RBI double, and now she's thinking 3. The throw to Braga, and they're going to have her dead to rights. It'll end up as a 7-6-5 play at third base, and there's 2 down in the inning, but not before Samantha Smith easily came in to score. So Smith picks up the RBI double, but then she's dead to rights at third. Brings up the cleanup hitter, Jacqueline Paul, with no one aboard. And the Beavers leading 1-0. 0-1 here to Paul. Sophomore out of Burlington, New Jersey. Attended the Lawrenceville School. A little bit low, 1-1. Greenspan gets the sign from Natalia Ardagna. 1-1 offering. Breaking ball over the inside half. 1-2. David Maestri, our base umpire for game 1, is moved behind the plate. Arnie Walken is out on the base pass. The 1-2 offering from Greenspan, and it's a slow breaking ball that's just barely fouled off by Paul. Nice job to stay alive. Jacqueline appeared in 44 games as a freshman, hit just under 300, 297 with 13 runs and 20 RBI. As a sophomore, she's mashing at a .455 rate, including an on-base percentage of .526. Good for tops on the team in both categories. Came in today hitting 15 of 33. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Greenspan gets out of trouble, thanks to some help from her outfield and her first strikeout of the game. But the Beavers take a 1-0 lead after one on a double from Annie Quine. While we've got a moment, let's take a look around Beaconville. Now that the weather has calmed down a little bit, most of the Beacon spring teams in action this week. Baseball is at Western New England trying to snap a 2-game losing streak tomorrow. Men's tennis looking for their third straight win, trying to get back to 500 tomorrow at 4:30 when they travel to Suffolk. Lacrosse is at Southern Maine on Saturday for the Little East Conference opener. The Beacons sit at 4-4, and the outdoor track and field team trying to compete in their first New England meet, as they've only competed down in Miami over spring break. It's the Beacons cleanup hitter Cassidy Gata stepping up for the first time to face off against Brooke Stock. Gata in the DP spot here for game one after playing first base in game one, and now in the DP spot in game two, I should say. Quickly ahead 0-2. (2-0) to the North Reading product, to be followed by Taylor Paulina and Tori DeCenso. Fouls that one back to the stop, and it's 2-1. Cassidy in that first contest went 1 for 4, a pair of strikeouts, a single to right, and a pop-up to shallow right that was caught by the second baseman. 2-2 now, as Brooke Stock, the power pitcher, one of the two aces on this Babson side, looking for her second strikeout. 2-2 offering, swung on and missed. Gata unable to connect on the fastball, and that's the first out of the second inning. UMass Boston struggling to catch up to the pitching of these Babson arms. UMass Boston struck out 12 times last season in a 3-0 loss. They've already struck out 11 times through 8 1/3 innings against the number 19th ranked team in the country. UMass Boston trying to get the bats going before Saturday's Little East Conference doubleheader against the Western team. The Beacons have a lot of kind of a budding rivalry against. Paulina puts down the bunt, but right at the pitcher, and easily retired 1-3. So just trying to put the ball in play, but not a well-placed bunt. UMass Boston played Western Connecticut State in the LEC championship game in 2016. Beacons ultimately fell in that one. They would have had to beat the Colonials twice. Last season, UMass Boston and Western not only split a conference doubleheader, as DeCenso tried to hold up but couldn't, and it's strike one on the check swing. Beacons split on senior day, and then 3 days later had to go to Western because of a coin flip in the first round of the LEC tournament. Ended up coming from behind and earning a wild extra inning victory over the Colonials to spark what would be the Beacons' first ever LEC tournament championship run. 0-2 to DeCenso, pops it up over the backstop, and Tori still has life. Beacons freshman first baseman out of Lynn, Mass. Went 1 for 3 in game one, a pair of flyouts to center, and a single to left. Holds off on the rise ball, and it's quickly 1-2 now. Beacons look for their first base runner here with 2 outs in the second, already trailing 1-0. Stock gets the sign. 1-2 offering, a fastball outside, 2-2. DeCenso, if she were to reach, would be followed by Giovanna Bonilla, Angelina Avatable, and Gigi Braga to round out the Beacons' starting lineup. DeCenso, another half swing, tag applied, and that's 3 strikeouts for Stock through 2 innings as UMass Boston goes down 1-2-3. Five, 6, 7 for the Beavers in the bottom of the second. Ashley Tango, Tori Roach, and Jamie Hoffman. These 3 were in the same spots in game number 1. Only Roach and Hoffman in slightly different defensive positions. Tango, a tremendous 2-sport athlete, field hockey and softball player, takes a breaking ball on the outside half, 0-1. Ashley, an All-American. Well, the past 2 seasons for the Beavers on the field hockey field. Also a NUMAC Player and Rookie of the Year in the fall. Swings and misses 0-2. Tango out of Reading, Mass. In game number 1, she went 0 for 2 before being pulled for a pinch hitter in her third at bat. Erica Pavlo actually had a pinch hit RBI single before Tango re-entered to play the field. 0-2 pitch off the corner, couldn't get her to chase, and the count moves to 1-2. Avatable gets the sign from Natalia Ardagna and relays it across. Greenspan looks for her second consecutive strikeout. 1-2 offering, that's fouled over our heads. Fouled over the Beacons head coach's wife's head. Unfortunately, their 7-month-old baby, little Mateo. Greenspan looking in. And her 1-2 offering. This one has a chance to stay in play. DeCenso in foul territory makes the play. And there's 1 out as the Beacons first baseman ranged into foul territory in front of her own dugout and was able to hang on. Brings up Tori Roach. Roach hit a long fly out to center field for her team-leading 3rd home run of the season in game number 1. Didn't hit a home run as a freshman, has already had 3 in her first 12 games as a sophomore. Sophomore out of Andover, who started behind the plate in game 1, takes the first pitch on the inside half for strike 1. Roach finished 1 for 3 in that first game with a strikeout and a homer. 0-1, just a little bit low in the left-hander's batting box, and it's 1-1. Greenspan looks in, 1-1. Breaking ball that's just a little bit low. And it's 2-1. Avatable holding on, but couldn't quite get the call. 5:55 here on the East Coast. Not quite sure how long the sun's going to hang up out there in left field, as that is on the inside half. Roach wasn't liking it, but it's enough for the call, 2-2. Two and two to the 6-hole hitter. Babson already leads 1-0 on Annie Quine's RBI double. Roach flares one out to right, getting into foul territory, and that one's going to be out of play. Giovanna Bonilla couldn't quite track it down. Roach to be followed by Hoffman, who was the DP in game number 1. And if it gets that far, Kayla Shinnick, team's center fielder. Roach pops up another one, and it will get out of play, this time on the right side. 2-2, 1 out, bottom 2. Babson took the first game 5-1 after trailing 1-0 through the first 2 innings. Better start here against the Beacons ace. Thanks to back-to-back hits in the first. That ball's roped out to left, going back and making another great play is Kira Pressmack. Pressmack has made 3 great plays, all in different varieties, and she has really helped the Beacons pitching staff today. Two down in the inning for Jamie Hoffman. Hoffman, the freshman out of Manhattan Beach, California, went a perfect 3 for 3 with 3 singles in the first game. Single through the right side, a single through the left side, and a single to left. Looking to go 4 for 4, hits it out to right center, but Giovanna Bonilla is there in time. A 1-2-3 inning for both teams here in the second. We head to the third. UMass Boston 0, Babson College 1. Well, we've got a moment. Let's take a look around the rest of the Little East Conference. There were 3 other doubleheaders going on today. No live stats from SUNY Purchase, so we can't give you any updates for the WestCon doubleheader. Remember, UMass Boston will play WestCon on Saturday, weather permitting. Mass Maritime and UMass Dartmouth, well, that one was a runaway. UMass Dartmouth jumped out to an early lead, and they cruised to a 6-0 home victory, rather, as UMass Dartmouth already 10-5 on the season. Plymouth State at Salem State, well, the Panthers are having little problems against the Vikings. It looks like Plymouth State is on their way to a mercy rule victory on the road against the Vikings. For the Beacons in the top of the third, 7-8-9, Giovanna Bonilla, Angelina Avatable, and Gigi Braga. The Beacons look to get something going, looking to get a base runner, period, here against Stock. It's 1-1 against the sophomore out of Fort Lauderdale. Named the NUMAC Tournament Most Outstanding Player because she absolutely carried the team as that one's hit out to left. An easy play for Hoffman on the slap that carried a little bit too far that time for Bonilla. Look at the numbers on Brooke Stock in the NUMAC Conference Tournament. She only made 2 starts, but they were great ones. Went 2-0, a pair of extra inning games, 15 innings pitched over 2 games, 3 earned runs, 14 strikeouts versus 4 walks, including an 8-inning shutout of WPI in the semifinals. And then she came on in relief and went the final 7 innings of the championship game against host Springfield College. 0-1 to Avatable, make it 1-1. To the Beacons sophomore catcher out of Holbrook, Mass. Attended Quincy High School. The 1-1 offering is hit out to right field. This one might be playable. Going back is Smith, and that one is going to bounce in foul territory, according to David Maestri. Difficult to tell from here. Beacon's first base coach, Sue Killalay, is arguing. And Avatable doesn't want to come back to home. She's convinced that ball was fair. Really difficult for us to tell. But they're going to call that a foul ball, as either way, Avatable was maybe a matter of a quarter of an inch or even less than that of potentially giving the Beacons their first base runner. So 1-2 now to Avatable. Swing and a miss. She goes down on strikes. Fourth strikeout victim already for Brooke Stock amongst the first 8 batters. And it'll bring up Gigi Braga. Sophomore shortstop out of Medford, Mass. 2 for 3 in game number 1. Looking to keep her hot streak going. She watches the first pitch go by for a strike on the outside corner. As a freshman, Braga finished at .296. Fouls it back to the stop with a .380 on base percentage. 29 runs, good for third best on the team. A double and 6 RBI. Also stole 8 bases in 9 tries. Trying to get things going here in 2018. Had just 1 hit in Florida, but now up to 3 on the year. She takes that pitch well outside the zone, 1-2. Beacons trying to avoid going down 1-2-3 in each of the first 3 innings. Brooke Stock already has a 1-0 lead. Working against the Beacons ace, Jess Greenspan. 1-2 offering, fouled off, and we'll do it again. Stock has struck out 4. She's also induced a ground out. Couple of pop-ups and 1 fly balls. That one gets back to the stop, and Braga just caught a piece of it. Might have actually been a good thing for the Beacons if she had totally missed, as she was already out of the batter's box, had a chance to potentially take first on the strikeout. One and two to the Beacons slap hitter. Hits that one over the shortstop. Tough play for Mitchell. Picks it up and throws in time. Beat her by half a step. And UMass Boston is retired, as Mitchell wasn't able to retire Braga the first time she hit it over her way in game 1, but the flex player able to retire her this time around. Heads to the bottom of the third. Beacon's bat still silent. Going to have to try to keep the Babson's bats quiet as well. It'll be 8-9-1 for Babson in the bottom of the third. Jess Greenspan will work against Kayla Shinnick, Brooke Stock, and Josephine Mayers. Here in the third inning, Shinnick came off the bench in game number 1. It's a pinch runner. She's out there in center field in game number 2. Beacons infield way in, especially at second with Danahy. Bunt put down. Greenspan fields her position well and throws it over to first base for the out on the 1-3 putout. So Shinnick trying to catch the Beacons defense sleeping to no avail. And the sophomore out of Watching, New Jersey is retired. Bring up Brooke Stock as Babson continues to have their pitchers hit for themselves, with Annie Mitchell just playing the flex position. Pretty important flex position at shortstop, and she's played strong defensive. or she's been strong defensively. Stock's also hit very well this year. In 3 games, she's 5 of 8 with 3 runs scored, a double, an RBI, and a stolen a base. She's hit safely in all 3 of those games. And it's 1-1 right now to the sophomore pitcher out of Fort Lauderdale. It's interesting, Mitchell last year hit for herself regularly, the shortstop, and the pitchers were pretty much the flex spot, which is what you see of most teams. But Dave Kanan having a lot of confidence in his pitcher's ability to hit, and Annie Mitchell has played pretty well defensively, especially today. She's been able to just focus on her defense. 2-1 now to the pitcher, Stock, and she's hit safely in all 4 games that she's hit. Nice approach there from the sophomore pitcher, flaring it out into right center, and the Beacons have really struggled to retire Babson's pitchers today. Who would have thought that would be the issue? Allie Riley went 2 for 3, including the game-tying RBI and the go-ahead run, and now Brooke Stock is a perfect 1 for 1 as she just recorded the 3rd hit for the Beavers. Josephine Mayers, who popped up to left to start the bottom of the first inning, 0 for 1 on the day with 3 walks, looking for her first hit. Leadoff hitter out of Houston, Texas, attended Duquesne High School. Hits that one hard past Danahy, and there's first and second now. Bonilla was in right field to begin with, and that prevents Brooke Stock from even thinking about going to third. 2 on for the first time today for Babson, as they had 2 hits in the first, but their second hit drove in a run. Stock at second, Mayers at first for Samantha Smith, who had a single up the middle, stole second, and scored back in the first inning. Takes a first pitch fastball on the outside half. Smith playing in her 138th career game. Really strong player who's carrying a 5-game hitting streak, even in the count at 1-1. And not just a 5-game hitting streak, Smith has had 2 RBI in 3 of her last 4. So a really nice little roll for the senior. 1-1, just got a piece of it, a breaking ball that was likely going to end up in the dirt. That's actually probably a break for the Beacons, as that one might have gotten bounced away from Avatable and allowed the runners to advance. 1-2 now to the 2-hole hitter with Annie Quine, who already has an RBI double awaiting on deck. 2 on, 1 out as Jess Greenspan tries to get out of a jam. Popped up into shallow center. Danahy is back and will make the play. Umpire calls infield fly. And there's 2 down now, with the Beavers bringing their 3-hole hitter to the plate in Annie Quine. Quine hit a rocket to left that Kira Pressmack tried to grab on the bounce. It bounced past her, and Quine thought she could advance all the way to third, but she was thrown out on a nice relay throw. This ball hit out to right center. Could be trouble. Paulina coming in. It ends up in the Bermuda Triangle. 1 run's going to score, and the Beacons are going to have runners on first and third against them there, as Danahy was probably the closest Beacon to it. Couldn't quite get there, and Quine is 2 for 2 with a pair of RBI. Brooke Stock coming in all the way from second base with 2 down. And it'll be Jacqueline Paul as the Beavers lead 2-0 here in the third. (2-0) with runners on the corners and 2 outs for Jacqueline Paul, who struck out swinging to end the first. Only strikeout victim thus far for Jessica Greenspan. Runner takes off. Abitable fakes the throw to second. Throw down to third. And the runner, Mares, is back safely. So give Annie Quine the stolen base. And there's runners at second and third here. Bounces up there, and Abitable, a great job to make the stop. 1-1 to the cleanup hitters. The Beacons try to keep this one close against the number 19 team in the country. UMass Boston's lost 5 straight against their fellow Massachusetts school. Trail 14-8 all time. That one is a late strike call from David Maestri, 1-2. They're going to change out the ball. Greenspan looks to get out of a jam. These are the first 2 earned runs she's allowed in her last 3 starts. This is one of the best offenses UMass Boston will see all season. Babson, a team that came into today hitting at .343. 104 hits in 11 games, so close to 10 a game. That one's fouled off. And 69 runs scored versus just 52 allowed. 69 runs scored against a really strong non-conference schedule thus far. Beacons on the other side have been scuttling offensively, still trying to get a couple of players going. Came in hitting just .238 with 31 runs scored in 10 games. They scored just 1 in game 1. Count is 2-2 here to Paul with 2 runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Beavers already with 1 run in the inning after Annie Quine's RBI single. Just a little bit low. The count runs full. Abitable and Greenspan wanted that one. Full count. First base is open. Ashley Tango awaits on deck. 3-2 offering. Hit softly over to Braga. Picks it up on 2 bounces. Has time. High throw. Did DeCenso get her foot down? And she did not. So it's going to be a throwing error there on the Beacons shortstop. The run comes in. And the Beacons just allowed the runner to move up to second base without making a play. Braga had a chance to make the tag. Instead, a high throw, and DeCenso couldn't get her foot down in time. So it's the exact same situation at this point, only there's another run in, and Jacqueline Paul steps up. As Josephine Mayer scored on the play, Annie Quine moved up to third, and the Beacons caught sleeping a little bit. It's the runner, Paul, who reached on an error by Braga, took second base, trying to draw the throw. Still having a conversation between the umpires. Be interesting to see what they're going to say. That was a tough play for Braga because the runner was running right in front of her, maybe thinking about putting the tag there with 2 outs. As umpires are going to have a discussion. Dave Kanan's going to have a conversation with their home plate umpire, David Maestri. Not quite sure what that was about. We'll see if Maestri comes over and chats with the Beacons coaching staff. But either way, the score should be 3-0. Two runners on with 2 outs, and now if Tango can potentially get a hit, this could really blow this game open here in the third. That last run was unearned, as would all runs from here on out. Oh, 1 to Tango, who fouled out to first base to lead off the second. 0-1 offering, swung on and missed, 0-2. Greenspan's had a couple of chances to get out of the inning, but a single to the Bermuda Triangle out in right center, and then an error on her short-handed shortstop led to a pair of runs coming in with 2 down. 0-2 offering to Tango, well outside, trying to get her to chase, 1-2. Now 6:15 on the East Coast. Gonna try to look up sunset, but have to imagine it wouldn't be too far after 7 as we're still in late March. Popped up on the right side. It's gonna get out of play. The runner at third base is Quine. She had an RBI single. Jacqueline Paul at second after she took second base, trying to draw a throw on the error. According to weather.com, sunset in Boston should be around 7:05, so we could run up against it. So we're here in the bottom of the third inning. Foul back to the stop. Count stays at 2-2 with 2 outs and 2 on. Still a relatively balmy 48 degrees for the Beacon's Harbor campus. Babson originally scheduled as the home team. Even though these games are being played at the Beacon softball field, they still are the home team. Hit right at Tango. Vento can't make the play, and a chance to score 2 runs. Braga picks it up. She's not going to have a play. 2 runs will come in on the hard hit double from Ashley Tango. Ashley Tango ripping a ball at Vento, who's not used to playing third base. She went down, nearly made the play, but it bounced possibly off of her foot there and allows 2 more runs to come in. Babson is struck for 4 2-out runs, and the Beavers lead 5-0 here in the third. The past 3 runs have all been unearned against Greenspan, who easily could be out of this inning. Not for a pop-up that found the outfield grass. And then an error on the Beacon shortstop. It'll bring up Tori Roach, who flares one out to right field foul. Roach hit a line drive out to left that Kira Pressmack was able to chase down just shy of the foul line. Hit a home run in game number 1 out to center. The lead is 5-0 in favor of the Beavers. Make it 0-2 to Roach as Greenspan, for the 4th consecutive batter, down to possibly her last pitch of the inning. Just needs that 3rd strike. Has 1 strikeout thus far. Breaking ball just a little bit low. David Maestri didn't like it, and it's 1-2. Greenspan looks in. Her 1-2 offering popped up, foul again. Babson really making Greenspan work for that final out of the inning. Sun's shining right now on one of the new dorms out there in center field. Construction still ongoing. Bounces up there, Navatable able to keep it in front. Out in left field, you can see the building that actually is on your screen right now. That's part of the apartments that are just off campus. But the first on-campus dorms will be out there in center and right. Over 1,400 beds on campus for the first time in school history as the count runs full with 2 outs and a runner on second. Just part of the construction plans on campus that has really changed the way UMass Boston's campus looks vastly over the past couple of years. 3-2 offering, hit back up the middle. Braga can't get it through the wickets, and it's a single. Pressmack trying to go home. Gets it past Angelina Avatable, and going all the way to third base is Tori Roach. That play is going to be ruled an error on Braga to allow the ball to get through the legs. And then a throwing error there on Pressmack to allow Roach to move all the way to third as the lead is 6-0 in favor of the Beavers. All of these runs coming here in the third, 5 of them with 2 outs, and 4 of the 5 coming unearned as UMass Boston's defense not really providing some help for their sophomore pitcher. One offering. Head over to the shortstop, Braga. Third chance. She's able to field this one. Throws it off. And DeCenso, rather than tagging the bag, was looking at a potential runner coming home. And that's going to push the lead to 7-0. Another throwing error on Braga, her third error of the inning. And after the Beacons had a really good defensive game number 1 without an error, they have struggled vastly here in the third. That's the third error on Braga of the third, the 4th total error. And the lead is 7-0. Babson has had 5 consecutive batters reach, with 3 of them reaching on errors by the shortstop. Bunt put down foul by Kayla Shinnick. Shinnick led off the third inning by attempting to put down a bunt on Greenspan, who fielded it and threw it over. Jess is just trying to control her emotions right now as she hasn't pitched poorly in this inning. Look at it. I mean, she's given up 3 hits, but her defense has struggled as Pressmack comes in and will make the play in shallow left, but not before UMass Boston commits 4 errors and allows 6 2-out runs, and the lead is 7-0 in favor of Babson after 3. Top of the order for UMass Boston here in the top of the 4th. Beacon's looking for a base runner. UMass Boston's gone 9 up, 9 down, with 4 of those batters retired by way of the strikeout. It'll be Pressmack, Danahy, and Vento. Deficit is 7 right now. And since there's no 7-run homers in softball, really just get that first base runner and go from there. As Pressmack puts it down, Tango picks it up. It's going to be a tight play, and she's out by half a step. Great throw from Ashley Tango. She needed to pick that ball up cleanly and get it across quickly, and she's just able to retire Kira Pressmack on the slap. It's what you want to do, put the ball in play against a strikeout pitcher, but Ashley Tango, the 2-sport athlete, really strong midfielder for the Babson field hockey team, able to make the play. Kelly Danahy, 0 for 5 on the day, including a strikeout swinging back in the first inning, looking for that first hit here at home of her collegiate career. Took a first pitch fastball at the knees, 0-1. 0-1 offering, fouled off. Danahy played at a really strong Silver Lake Regional High School program, a program that sent a lot of players to the D1 and D2 level. Came in during the Beacons Florida trip and looked really comfortable right away, especially at the plate as she takes a rise ball high. Finished the Florida trip as the Beacons leader in batting average at .360. Also towards the top on the Beacons with the .429 on base percentage and .520 slugging percentage. 1-2 offering. Gets a piece of that one and hits it just over the glass. on the Edward T. Barry ice rink, staying at 1-2. The lead is 7-0 in favor of the host Beavers. Weird to say here at the UMB softball field. Brookstock will scuff up that new softball a little bit. And she'll get another one. Babson will hope to play their official home opener on Friday. They've got a doubleheader scheduled for 3 p.m. against MIT, another UMass side. Stanahy holds off on the breaking ball in the dirt. Beacons will play their official home opener tomorrow. They'll host Castleton University at 3 and 5 before opening conference play on Saturday at Western Connecticut State. 2-2 offering. Danahy pops it up a mile high. This one has a chance to stay in play, but it'll come out. And actually, that was a lot further out of play than I expected. 2-2. To the second baseman. Beacons look for that first base runner against Brookstock. Danahy hits it hard through the hole, and the Beacons break up the perfect game. Still a little bit early, but when you're trailing 7-0, something you think about. Stanahy gets that first collegiate hit here at home, and now let's see if the Beacons can break up the shutout. Brings up Roxanne Vento, who was retired for the first time today in her first at-bat. Popped up foul on a ball that was hit a mile high to the third baseman, Tango. In game number 1, she was 2 for 2 with a single, a double, 2 walks, and an RBI. That pop-up in the first inning was the first time she'd been retired against the Beavers in 3 games. She had done a perfect 2 for 2 last year with a double. Vento watches another pitch just miss on the outside half, 2-0. Danahy with good speed over at first base. 2-0 pitch, rocketed out to left, but right at the left fielder who can't make the play. It dips just in front of Hoffman. Danahy had to hold up as she thought that it might be caught. And the Beacons have runners at first and second there as that ball was diving low. And it's going to be a single for Roxanne Vento. So after Vento's third hit of the day, see if the Beacons can scratch across a run. They've got Cassidy Gata and Taylor Paulina due up next. It's a tough play for Hoffman as it was tailing away from her and dipped quickly. As Cassidy Gata quickly fouls off the first pitch. 0-1 to Gata, who struck out swinging to start the second. Has 3 strikeouts and a single today. 0-1 pitch to Gata, hit softly over to third baseman Tango. Only play is to second. They're going to try to turn 2, not in time. And it ends up as a fielder's choice. 5-4 retiring Vento heading to second. Beacons have runners on the corners now with 2 down. Chance with 2 down to potentially score a run against Brookstock, something that Beacons failed to do in 4 innings a year ago. Struck out 10 times, had just 2 hits. This time around, the Beacons have limited the strikeouts. They've only struck out 4 times, but they have just the 1 hit. No, they've got 2 in the inning. Oh, 1 to Paulina, hit hard out to left center. This one's got a chance to go, and it's going to be caught. A great running play by Kayla Shinnick, just shy of the wall. In fact, she made the catch and then ran into the fence out in left center. Taylor Paulina gave it her eye, but just not quite enough as the Beacons nearly put up some runs against Brookstock. 9-1-2 for the Beavers here in the fourth. They lead 7-0 after a 6-run third inning in which they scored all 6 runs with 2 outs, including 5 unearned runs. It'll be Stock, followed by the top of the order, Mayers, and then there will be a pinch hitter in the 2-hole. Stock singled through the middle and scored in the third inning. Babson pitchers today are 3 of 4 at the plate. 1-0 to Stock, and that's a foul ball that hits off the knob of the bat. That's good news for both sides, as Jess Greenspan didn't want to put a runner on, and the last thing Dave Kanan wants to see is his starting pitcher get hit by a pitch in the hand, especially the pitching hand. Brooks Stock and Allie Riley, very formidable duo at the top of the Babson pitching staff. DeCenso can't make the play. He can't pick it up. And it's going to be an error on the Beacons' first baseman, the Beacons' 5th error in the past 2 innings, as that will allow a leadoff base runner to reach here in the fourth. So the woes continue, and I think we're going to see a pinch runner over there at first base. Believe it's going to be Victoria Casey replacing Brooke Stock on the base pass. So no risk, no worth risking Stock getting injured on the base pass, and she'll be replaced by Victoria Casey. Casey was in the starting lineup in game number 1. She was out there in left field. She'll come off the bench here in game 2. So Josephine Mayers, who's 1 for 2, popped up to left and singled past the second baseman and scored in the third, will step up. If you're not familiar with softball rules at the collegiate level, if Babson can add at least 1 run here in the fourth, it'll put the pressure on the Beacons. There is an 8-run mercy rule after 5. The Beacons, as the road team, I say in quotation marks, means they would have to score at least 1 run at the top of the 5th. So they've already had their at-bat here in the 4th inning. Mayers takes it outside 2-0. For whatever reason, the Beacons have really struggled to throw strikes against Mayers, who walked in all 3 of her trips to the plate in game 1. That one catches the outside corner just below the knees. 2-1. Victoria Casey, the pinch runner, over at first after the fielding error on Tori DeCenso. Beacons had been doing so well today. They did not commit an error in the field in their first 8 innings defensively. That ball's rocketing it right at Bonilla, and she's not going to get over to first in time. Nice job by Casey not straying too far away. But a hard first out here in the bottom of the 4th. Mayers absolutely rocketed that ball out, but right at Giovanna Bonilla. Pinch hitter in the 2-hole is Alex Corrigan. Corrigan, a junior first baseman out of Middletown, New Jersey. This roster has quite a few players from New Jersey. As that one's ripped out to left, and it's going to get down. A potential pinch hit double. Rounding second and holding up at third is Casey, the pinch runner. And Alex Corrigan comes off the bench and picks up her 2nd hit of the season. Pinch hit double. So 2 on with 1 out. And if the Beacons want to give themselves a chance to extend this game, they really need to get these next 2 outs before they give up any further damage.
Now hitting for the Beavers, number 21, Annie Quine.
2 runners in scoring position with 1 out for Annie Quine. Quine's a perfect 2 for 2, a double, a single, a solo on base, and a pair of RBI for the junior catcher out of Santa Monica, California. This is a really interesting Babson roster in that they recruit from all over the country. You can do that when you have a lot of academic majors that are very high profile, especially I think it's the entrepreneur major at Babson is ranked in the top 50 in the country. They have quite a few good programs. Student athletes from New Jersey, California, Florida, Maine, Connecticut, not a ton of Massachusetts students. The Beacons roster little bit more New England based, although they do have Kira Pressmack out of Texas, who does have some Massachusetts ties, and of course Drew Washington, the Game 1 starter out of New Jersey. 2-1 offering to Quine, a little bit low. Walking Quine wouldn't be the worst idea here to get him out at every base. Quine has so much pop in the 3-hole. As it's 3-1 with Jacqueline Paul, the cleanup hitter, who's 0 for 2. Struck out and reached on an error, hitting third. That one's hit softly. Danny, he's going to go to first. Didn't have a play at home. And the Beavers extend their lead to 8-0. But the Beacons get the second out. So Corrigan moves up to third. Victoria Case, the pinch runner, scores. Quine has her third RBI in 3 trips to the plate. And Jacqueline Paul steps up with a runner on third and 2 down. Babson has now scored a run in 3 of their 4 at-bats here in Game 2. It'll be the first baseman, Paul, who struck out swinging in the first, reached on an error and scored in the third. Part of a third inning in which the Beacons committed 4 errors, all with 2 outs. The Beacons just could not get that third out of the third. We'll see what they do here in the fourth. Paul knifes one out, foul down the right field side. 1-1. I'm always surprised that no one gets hit by a softball, especially on the right field side where there's so many people who are walking to their cars, not really paying attention to the game around them. Vitable does a nice job framing that pitch on the outside half, and it's 1-2. There was a car that was hit last year. Fernando Burgos, a member of the Beacons baseball team, decided to leave his car behind the softball field to get to a doubleheader, and ultimately found a big softball-sized hole in his trunk after a nice trip back from Eastern Connecticut State. 2-2, 2 outs. Greenspan tries to limit the damage here in the fourth. Babson already leading 8-0. 2-2 offering, another ball fouled down the right field side. And that one just missed the spectator, who at least had his head up, was aware the ball was coming his way. The good news is, if you're Greenspan, most of this damage has been unearned runs. Just giving up 3 unearned runs versus 5 unearned runs versus 3 earned runs. And that's strike 3 looking. Paul didn't like it, but it'll end up as the second strikeout for Greenspan. We head to the top of the 5th. The Beacons need at least 1 run to extend the game. It'll be 6-7-8 to Senso, Mania, and Vitable for UMass Boston. Folks, before we get to the top of the 5th, let's take a look ahead. UMass Boston's going to be right back here on the Beacons Broadcast Network tomorrow. In their official home opener, they'll take on a Castleton team that's 1-5 on the season. They'll be making their New England debut here in 2018. Beacons will then travel to Western Connecticut State on Saturday for their LEC opener. Next week, they'll take on a pair of teams that made it to the NCAA tournament a year ago. The Salve Regina Seahawks, who were the defending CCC champs, and the Framingham State University Rams, who are the defending MASCAC champs. Not an easy schedule to start their New England slate of games here for UMass Boston. A Babson team that won the NEWMAC. Castleton, the only non-defending champs or team that hasn't won in the past 2 years. Although I think the Spartans won maybe in 2015, maybe even 2016. So maybe UMass Boston's playing their first 5 doubleheaders against teams that have won in the last year or two their conference tournament. Just shows how tough this schedule has been. Tori DeCenso takes the first pitch fastball in the outside corner. The Beacons with 2 hits against Brooke Stock. They both came in the 4th inning. Danahy and Vento back-to-back singles, but the Beacons left both of those runners on thanks to a great running play from Kayla Shinnick, who tracked down a fly ball from Taylor Paulina on what originally looked like the ball had a chance to get out. Instead, it was just shy of the wall. 2-1 to DeCenso, who struck out swinging to end the second. 2-1 offering. She fouls that one off on the right side. And it's 2-2. That one ended up on top of the Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. Shows the kind of strength that DeCenso has. Don't see a ton of balls get up on top of the building to our right, especially from right-handed hitters. 2-2 pitch. She fouls this one back, and it nearly catches some more spectators. It's like watching Frogger out here. Couple of people coming right out the back door of the Clark Athletic Center, not looking it up, and the ball just barely missed them. 2-2 offering, just off the corner, 3-2 now to Tori DeCenso. St. Mary's Lynn product. Former shot put conference champion as a junior. 3-2 pitch, and another foul ball that just misses some spectators. It's becoming comical at this point as DeCenso has hit so many foul balls during this at-bat that the umpire was out of balls, and so were the teams. 3-2 with no outs here in the top of the 5th. The Beacons need at least 1 run to extend this game to the bottom of the 5th. Otherwise, they would lose by way of the mercy rule. 3-2 pitch. DeCenso hits it softly off the end of the bat. Tango the long throw, and it's caught there. A nice reach from Jacqueline Paul on the ball that went up the ladder for the first out of the inning. So a good fight from DeCenso, but in the end, she's retired 5-3. That'll bring Giovanna Bonilla to the plate. .643 here on the East Coast, just about 22 minutes away from expected sunset. Still have a decent amount of light, but the sun dipping quickly over Monin Park to our left. 0-1 pitch, swung in and missed by Bonilla, who lined out to left on a slap to lead off the 3rd inning. Bonilla to be followed by Angelina Avatable. 0-2 taken, and that's not one you could afford to take. On the outside half, strike 3 looking, the 5th strikeout in 4 2/3 innings for Brooke Stock. Angelina Avatable is the Beacons' last chance here. Avatable struck out swinging in her only at-bat of the day. Thought she had a bloop single down the right field line, what would have been the Beacons' first hit of the game in the 3rd, but the umpires ruled that it was just foul, much to the bemusement of the Beacons' first base coach, Sue Killalay, and to Avatable herself. Shows bunt, pulls it back, and there's a fastball right on the outside half, 1-1. Brooke Stock is certainly the hardest throwing pitcher of the 5 pitchers we've seen today. 1-1 offering, popped up, chance for Quine, and she makes the play in foul territory. Babson College earns a sweep of UMass Boston. The first game, Beacons led early into the 3rd inning, eventually fell 5-1. This one not quite as close. The 3rd inning in which Babson scored 6 runs, 5 of them unearned. The difference as the Beavers earn an 8-0 win in 5 innings. We'll take a brief moment to thank our production crew, and that'll do it for us here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Want to give a shout out to Alyssa Fugel, our director. Anthony Searles doing stats. Janessa Hernandez on the scoreboard here at the field, and Steve Witkowski on PA. And, of course, Cassie Murphy doing an excellent job on camera. My name is Seth Dorensky, your producer and play-by-play guy. The Beacons fall 8-0 in 5 innings. That'll do it for us here at the UMB softball field. Make sure to check back On Thursday, if you're a Beacons fan, the Beacons will host Castleton. On Friday, if you're a Babson fan, they'll host the Beavers in their official home opener as they take on MIT in a big NUMAC conference matchup.